Do you want to do this private or do we want to jump into something else?
Uh, well, you're the one that runs OBS, so
Yeah, OBS is started already. I guess actually we might be live right now because it says ends
yeah, I think
recording.
we are.
Okay, so
So
I
let
guess
me
we're
check.
gonna do it here. Um,
Yeah, we're live. So, hey, hey everyone, welcome to the Redeye. Uh,
Yeah, welcome to Mad Dodge Productions. Welcome to the Redeye stream. Here I am with Doku once again. Today we're going to be talking about pop culture a little bit, and I would like to make an announcement. Doku, we're going to be creating a graphic novel. Why don't you tell the people about that a little bit?
well, we've had a few ideas involving graphic novels, so which one do you want me to start with? Because I think the sci-fi western is probably the one we're going to be going with, right?
Correct. Yes. That is the one I am referring to. So go ahead and tell the people that, and I'm gonna sort out the rest of the stream because I didn't know we were live already.
Well, technical difficulties, or in this case, maybe not. But yeah, we want to do a sci-fi western, and maybe some social commentary, and maybe some historical commentary, because I know Mad Dodge loves doing his history streams. But yeah, we're still not 100% sure where we want to go with this, but it is going to be a western, uh, a sci-fi western. If you guys like Trigun, or well, if you watch anime, if you like Trigun, uh, Cowboy Bebop, you might have you might have some senses. Fuck me, Mad Dodge, help me here.
Well,
Damn
no,
it.
and actually, I was listening to you, and it's interesting because I'm more I would compare what my idea as a writer when it comes to this graphic novel is more of a comparison to Tales from the Crypt, but with a sci-fi tinge. You know what I mean? So instead of gothic horror, it's more sci-fi, almost Alien versus Predator or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's why this project might be very interesting for people. And yes, I know Jensen, drink for interesting, because I'm coming from one perspective, and Dodge is coming from a completely different perspective. I like anime, Dodge doesn't. I like certain forms of media, Dodge tends to not like the same forms of media. So we're gonna have two two different styles that ultimately culminate in, well, a climax where both of these styles come together, and well, we'll see where it goes, because
Well, it's going to
we
be
don't
more
have
of
a
an
set in stone
anthology,
idea.
right? It's going to be more of an anthology. So they're going to be individual stories that tie together. What we really need is okay. So what we have is two writers. Okay, me and Doku here. We're both writers. We don't have an artist. That's a problem.
Yeah, yeah, especially if we're going to be doing a graphic novel, we definitely need an artist. It, but more, you're going to be doing your story, and I'm going to be doing my story, and these characters are going to meet, and then the storylines start to converge. So it'll be one of those things where two sides of the coin become the same coin, and then all of a sudden, oh, now we have an actual storyline going forward within the last couple of volumes. But you're right, we do need an art. That's gonna be the problem.
Well, no, and that is an issue, and we'll come to that bridge. After we burn the other bridges down. But the thing is, all right. When it comes to pop culture and it comes to graphic novels, for instance, or even comic books, is it a dying breed?
Eh, Yes and no. Kind of a complicated question, actually. It, as far as the comic industry goes, mm, Diamond is maybe, maybe coming back. Maybe, maybe, big maybe. Uh, but really, okay, if Diamond does come back, where are the comic shops?
Well, no, and that's a problem, right? There's no comic shops. I can't even go out and go. Okay, so we do have a shop in Eugene where I can go if I was a D&D player and I could buy D&D stuff. But there's no Vampire the Masquerade. Yeah, they sell axes and allies, sure, but they don't have vampire. They don't have any obscure tabletop game to speak of. Um, it's it's dying, and that's also the comic shop, right? That's the same shop where they sell the comics. Yeah, guess what is in there? Axes and allies, and D&D, and dice and Magic
Oh,
the
and see,
Gathering. There is
so,
no comics.
now you're talking more about like the hobby shop because okay, yeah, I could go to the local hobby shop and that's where I go to play Warhammer or uh D&D. Well, if those shops close down, yeah, I could always go to my friend's house and we can play D&D because we have our circle of friends. But that doesn't expand the business. Doesn't expand the industry. So, okay, if these shops shut down, where are you going to go? It
Well, no, and what are people buying? Okay, let's look at what I'm buying. I'm buying second edition Vampire the Masquerade. And where am I buying it? eBay. Okay, this is all secondhand stuff. So, White Wolf is not getting $1, right? They sold this shit in 1997.
and also just to touch on that, so okay, you're playing D&D or you're playing Vampire and you're going to these shops. This is normally where you would play these games. This is where you would buy the books, or if when it comes to Warhammer, this is where you'd buy the models. This is where you would buy the paint. This is where you'd buy the glue. Well, if these shops close down, they operate on a very small margin, the same way that comic shops do. If they close down, well, now all of a sudden it literally does become an Amazon exclusive type of hobby where you're just playing it amongst a small group of friends. The community will die, and that's what people don't realize. If everyone thinks, oh well, Big Bang Theory was a popular show. Yeah, everyone who's been playing D&D and Warhammer and Vampire the Masquerade, Big Bang Theory is not going to save this industry. It's just not. Uh, Where are you going to go to actually, you know, play play these actual games with people? Where are you going to go to actually meet people who want to play these games?
Yeah, back in the day, they would have, the bulletin board, and you would put up, "Hey, I'm a storyteller or a dungeon master looking for a group." You would pin it up there, and then you would get phone calls. Nowadays, we're doing the games in Discord. I'm sorry, but does that work? Yeah, it works great for me. I'm enjoying myself, right? I do, we're going to be doing Mexico City as a live stream. I'm great with this. But how's it doing for the industry? I think it's killing
Well,
it.
it doesn't work for the brick and mortar shop because again, okay, if the brick and mortar shops get shut down, yeah, people like me, you, Jensen, Sharadi, Kim, Keen, Yorkie, yeah, we can play Vampire the Masquerade over Discord and have one hoot fucking hell of a time. But if the brick and mortar shops shut down, you're not going to be able to walk in and buy a physical book. You're not going to be able to walk in and buy a physical model. And I know Jensen would recognize this. Even just trying to create uh, a gaming table where you could actually play Warhammer, whether it's 40K or it's the fantasy version, you you can't play those types of games without having a gaming table. Like you would literally have to have a basement with a table that is, about yeah, 10 feet by 4 feet. That takes some effort.
Yeah, no, and I think so I haven't played Warhammer. I don't know much about it, honestly. But I have played D&D miniatures where we use figures. It sounds like kind of the same thing. We used figures and we had a table with a map on it, and that's how we did it. That's kind of how Warhammer is, correct?
Well, and Warhammer is actually a lot more intricate because you have line of sight. So like you can you could really half-ass it and be like, oh, okay, here's some, we'll put some cans in the way. And speaking of cans, cheers. But you could put some cans in the way and be like, oh yeah, these are Promethium refineries. Or, go out into the backyard and pick some bushes and be like, yeah, these are. But you still have to have at least the room to, play the game because they're miniatures. If if I have a model and it only moves 6 inches or 12 inches, you still have to have a battlefield, so to speak, where you have at least 12 inches worth of room to move the miniatures around. You can't really do that unless you have the space available. This is where the hobby shops really come into their own because they can provide you with, a large space where you can play these types of games. Because most people don't have, you know,
Well, no, and the thing is also, right? So when it comes to these games, okay, yeah, sure, you could buy your Warhammer 40K miniatures, and you could just sit at home and paint them. Good for you. But if you want to actually play this game, you're not going to be able to do it online like we can with Vampire the Masquerade. You're just not
yeah,
going to be
you
able
need,
to.
yeah, you need space. And one of the things that's important when it comes to the tabletop, and I'm not talking about tabletop in the sense of Dungeons and Dragons, but actual, miniature versions of tabletop, you do need a significant amount of space just to play the game in a way that it actually works. So you are talking about a table that is about the size of a king size bed just to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to the other areas of like, the comic book shop and pop culture, I mean, you have the influx of like Star Trek trying to get back into the comic industry. That's cute, good for you, but nobody's buying it really. You can't give this shit away. So what exactly is working at the comic level? Because I don't see anything other than Kickstarters working. Independent shit.
That's a good question because there isn't anything really working at that level at the time. It, yeah, you might have one or two, yeah, comic books that do well, but that's only one or two, and they're not doing nearly as well as. I mean, go look at how Deadpool was doing in the '90s. If you managed to hit those numbers, I'd be shocked.
Well, no, and what is okay? Game of Thrones came out with a set of graphic novels. Those sold well. Duh, it's Game of fucking Thrones. The Walking Dead. That the graphic novels were out before the TV show, and then when the TV show came out, the graphic novel shot through the roof. Right? I even have a couple of trades of The Walking Dead. I have the first two trades. So it's like a set of what? 5 or 6 comics in one trade? Something like that? You know what I mean?
Well, the ones that actually did really well were the Hedge Knight, uh, the Tale of
Yeah,
Duncan Eggs,
the Hedge Knight. That's the one I own from Game of Thrones. Yeah.
because they weren't directly tied. Well, they were directly tied to the Game of Thrones series, but they weren't tied to the TV series. So it did expand on the world building. It added something that people didn't get from just watching the HBO show. So people like that. It's like, okay, you're expanding on the lore. That's cool. We like that. We want more. We want more of this world. You've taken you've taken this much time to actually build up this world that is so intricate. We want to see more about it. We don't want to see Arya Stark. We don't want to see Sansa. We don't want to see Daenerys Targaryen. Well, what about
Well,
these characters that we've only heard of in passing?
yeah.
Let's see what they've done.
Yeah, exactly. We want to know about Jon Snow's older sister or aunt. Sorry, it's his aunt. Um, we want to know about Danny's older brother. You know, we want to know about Lyanna Stark. We want to know about fucking you know what's his? I don't even know the Targaryen's name off the top of my head, to be honest. It doesn't
Well,
really matter either. Um,
we could have the first Aegon. We could have uh who were the two sisters? Because he had two sisters and they were badass as shit. I want to know more
oh,
about them.
yeah, yeah, flying around on dragons and killing motherfuckers. Hell yeah, right? How is that not a good TV show? Like that's all you need, right? Dragons and burning people. It works. Oh, throw some tits out there because it's HBO.
Well, yeah, it sex sells. Hate to break it to you guys, but yeah, sex sells.
But I
Sorry,
mean,
sorry,
when
Puritan
it comes
Twitter.
to these comic book shops, though, I mean, what is coming out? You have what? The Star Trek movies had a comic series. It failed. Um, is X Men even a thing anymore? What about Batman?
We don't even know. The last good Batman comic I saw was Dark Knight Metal, which was an extremely dark, very adult series.
Yes, the Dark Knight series actually is the last Batman series I read, and it was amazing.
Oh no,
Um, and it
the
was
one I'm
before
talking
the Dark Knight movie, people. Like this was in the early 2000s, like
oh no,
oh 01, oh 02.
the one I'm talking about is called Dark Knight Metal, and it's a bunch of different. I, I guess you could call it like a multiverse if we're using just comic lore, but it is a very almost horror based. Where like one of them they one of the Batmans gets corrupted by the Joker, and all of the Robins are on like leashes. Like, dude, it's kind of fucked up. It really is. But it's a good it's a good series. But that's the thing, is a series that is not geared towards kids. It's geared towards the people who actually still buy comic books and grew up on comic books. Because, dude,
And
kids
that's
nowadays, they don't buy comic books.
no, they don't. They don't even get the ebooks. To be honest. And that's the thing. I think the industry itself needs to rise up to the level of maturity that its audience is at, which is you and I.
No, exactly. And it, 13, 14-year-olds, they're not going to your local comic shop and they're not buying comic books. They might buy a digital copy here and there, but no, they're mostly watching the Marvel movies and they're like, "Oh yeah, Marvel movies are cool." But they're gonna go back to playing, I don't know, Cuphead, whatever the hell it is they do on an iPad. I don't even know, playing Fruit Ninja. It They're not buying comic books. You're catering to an audience that doesn't exist. It, it the audience for the youngins, it's not there. They're not buying they're not buying comic books. Those are not the people who are buying comic books.
Well,
You
no, and
need to cater.
you saw the shift in the late '90s, right, with the rise of what Spawn, Constantine, stuff like that rose up to popularity. That wasn't necessarily for the 13-year-old, was it?
Oh, and that's the thing, is what these uh what these companies that own the IP for these characters and for these storylines, what they need to realize is you're not selling comic books to kids. It They can say they're selling digital comics all they want. No, dude, you're not. You're
Yeah,
not
no,
selling
I no
digital
longer
comics.
no. I don't want the Hulk Hogan era. I don't want to eat my breakfast and be born American. All right, that's not where we're at anymore. We're at a more mature stage. So I want more Spawn. I like Game of Thrones. I like The Walking Dead. Constantine, Spawn, again. I said it twice for a reason. Because that's
Oh,
like
dude,
the fucking genre bearer, right?
let's even look at one of the most popular franchises that has been picked up by a large network, as far as comic book goes, or as far as comic book go. Walking Dead. The Walking Dead is not a series that is geared towards children. It's not. It's geared towards our generation. But our generation has now grown up. It has more mature themes. It's on the dark side. And AMC picked it up and it was incredibly successful. Like,
Yeah,
comic
absolutely. Kind of like we're talking pop culture in general, right? So I think this fits. Hell on Wheels. That was another AMC show. And that was about a Confederate soldier. His family was murdered by Yankees, and he is on a hunt to kill everybody who did it. Anybody that was even connected to doing it. And then it brings up the railroad factor and, the actual history. And it dives into it. It once again, it goes balls deep, dude. Um, it's a great fucking series. And
well,
it
again,
has
that's
mature themes.
and again, that's the thing, is because, you know, our generation that grew up on comic books, we've we've grown up. We're more mature now. We're not the cereal box comic book generation anymore. We actually do want more mature things, regardless of what side you fall on in the political spectrum. we're not kids at this point in time. The kids of the current generation, the ones that, you know, Marvel and DC and everybody else they're trying to cater to, that's not the generation that actually buys comic books. You do not understand your demographic. You do not understand your consumer base. We're the ones that want to buy something like uh
Well, no, and we're the
the
assholes that you should be catering to, and I'll tell you why. I like to collect stuff, right? I want the fucking physical Blu-ray of every season of Game of Thrones. I want that. Why? Because I want it on my shelf. Why? I don't know. Because I'm an egotistical bastard. It doesn't matter why. I want that. You know what
no,
the younger generation wants? They want the digital copy.
Yeah, I want to touch on that. We are the ones that actually value the physical copy. We're the ones that care about the variant covers. We're the ones that care about the statues and the busts. Yeah, we're the ones that actually really still have, yeah, it that childish instinct, despite being adults, but still want uh, that appeal to what made us really love comics and nerd culture and geekdom. You know, I don't care if it's a comic book, but I do want the comics and the books and everything else to evolve with me and mature with me. I want to see something like Watchmen. I want to see something like Game of Thrones. I
Well,
want
no,
to see
and
something like Star Trek.
well,
Like
no, and the
the
thing is, Doku. Okay, so like, look at somebody like me. All right, I have over 150 PDFs about Vampire the Masquerade. A bunch of different books. You know what I grab when we're playing our games? My physical copies. Why is that? I think it's my generation, probably. But we're the ones that actually care about this shit. So, how about you start catering to us?
Well, it's because we're the generation that actually still cared about that. Again, I don't want a physical copy of Watchmen. I don't want all volumes of The Walking Dead as a digital copy. I want the actual physical copy so I can sit there and I can read it. And that that is a distinctive difference between, the iPad generation. And that's what I'm going to start calling them from now. It's the iPad generation versus, our generation where we still had a physical book and we could sit there and we can read it. I still love the variant cover. I still love, having the Marvel encyclopedia. I still love having George R. R. Martin's A World of Ice and Fire, even if it cost 50 freaking dollars. I want the physical copy. I do not
Fuck
want the
you for
digital
owning
copy.
that book and not sending it to me, by the way.
You know what? For Christmas, dude, I'll fucking buy a copy.
That's what you said last year. I still ain't got no
You know
Christmas
what?
gift.
But here's the other thing, and this is why you see things like Warhammer 40,000 and other miniature games dying. We want we want the models where we can sit there and put them together, paint them, put them together in the way that we want, because that actually means something to us.
Well, not only
It has
that, but
meaning.
it's like, our buddy Frank, Exile Opinions, shout out, what up? You're a part of the brand. But hey, he sent me the Defiant, right? But he sent it 3D printed. I need to seal the seam up, and then I need to paint it and put decals on it myself, right? So I'm not necessarily sitting there putting a whole model together, but I still gotta put a little bit of work into this shit, and I'm gonna feel better about it after I do. You know what I mean?
And that's because it has meaning. And and that's the difference. If you have an entire generation that grows up with just, oh, we're gonna do everything with digital copies, and I can just go through and read everything. I can get Disney Plus, or I can buy Funimation's web app. Okay, yeah, cool. You get the content, but it doesn't really have nearly as much meaning. And I guess that's where the disconnect between the generations shows, because we want the actual physical copy. Hey, I don't want to just read the book. I want to actually have the physical book.
Well, yeah. I mean, in my vampire books, right? Because I run games, I have goddamn post-it notes. I have fucking pieces of paper marking pages. I got all sorts of shit, right? I can't necessarily do that with a digital copy. Like, I guess you technically can. It's not the same, though, is it?
No, I mean, you could, yes, you could, but it isn't the same. It doesn't have the same kind of feel to it. Where, yeah, okay, I could bookmark something and put a hotkey to it, but it's not the same as actually having the physical book right there with you. And it, there is something about having, what's the right way to put it?
Physical property, really, because digital property, like, let's not forget. This is something we haven't even touched upon. Let's get to this. Do not forget, if you own something digitally, you just bought a license for it. They could revoke said license at any moment. So you could pay $20 for a book and then have it yanked from you the very next day.
Yeah, it's kind of like buying a subscription to Disney Plus only for them to say, "Oh, this movie's not available anymore." It, as opposed to, "Well, screw you, Disney. I have the physical copy, so haha, joke's on you."
Well, no, and legally, they try to make the same argument with physical copies, right? They say, when you buy the DVD, you are licensing it, and you are allowed to watch it in your home, not in a public place. But then you have public places like parks, putting on movies that they just bought the DVD of, and they're using a projector screen. You know what I mean? So you're kind of talking out of both sides of your face at that point.
I mean, if I own the physical copy of the DVD, what are they gonna do? Have the police come and confiscate it?
I guess
I
they
don't need.
could. I mean, technically.
Could they? I bought and paid for it. What? They're gonna come confiscate it? No, no, they're not. They'll be mad. They'll be pissed about it, but they can't do damn about it. It's like, no, I bought I bought a physical copy of Snow White. I don't need Disney.
Okay, so when it comes to pop culture, let's move on from comics and head into movies and TV. Um, I was wondering last night, actually, I was thinking about this to myself. Is the quarantine gonna put off the Game of Thrones spinoff? Probably, right? What's that gonna do with the production scale of every TV show?
It. Mhm. Um, I honestly don't know. I really don't. It
It's not gonna
if
be
you
good though, right?
it it can't be good. It Man, you had to ask me. You had to ask me a question. Okay. How are you going? Let's say you own an AMC theater or a Regal Cinema. How are you going to stay in business? It,
Well, no, that's what I'm talking about. And that's why I was just sitting here waiting because I figured you were headed down the same road, and you are. No, you're not going to survive. The movie industry was already tanking. Remember? We've been talking about this for a year and a half. Now CVID hit. Now the big popular shows are put off. That's all that was keeping the industry alive, because movies aren't doing it. It was shows like Game of Thrones. Let's be honest.
Well, and here's the thing. Okay, you can throw out movies all you want. It you can throw them on your streaming sites. Maybe you'll make your money back. You probably won't, but maybe. Uh, but at the end of this, once this is all said and done, Alamo might be around. Some of these boutique theaters, they might be around. But you know what they're not showing? They're not showing your latest blockbuster release that no one really gives a damn about, because the quality of what Hollywood is putting out is absolute garbage. Because, and if anybody's ever watched The Stream of Corruption, Raltz has said this. Ever since the writers' boycott, when Hollywood decided, well, screw you, if you're gonna boycott Hollywood, boom, you're blacklisted. You're gone. Bye. That's the moment in time Hollywood lost all of their writers. The ones that could actually do something good, decent, that didn't have to do with identity politics, didn't have to soapbox and shove something down your throat. They're gone. They're out. So what do you see now? You see a bunch of people who don't know how to write, only know how to pander to a specific group who mostly don't spend money. Maybe they'll go see your movie once, maybe twice, if you're lucky. Do you really think these people spend money? These are the
No, and
people that think.
that's the thing too, right? Like, look at it from a fiscal aspect. Who's spending the money? Our generation. All right, our generation. We're the ones spending the money. We're the ones making the money. We're the ones spending it. What do we want? We want physical copies of stuff, and we want, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia. Like maybe we like the old times a little bit more. Like, I'm kind of fond of the 80s. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's
Uh,
that, but it doesn't matter what it is, really. What we want is a physical copy, and we want you to give us what we pay for. And you're not doing
well,
either.
it's not even that, because you have to think about what it is from a story. Because the storytelling standpoint, we've had good stories going all the way back to the 60s and 70s. We have good stories. It You don't need to create something new. You don't need to destroy a franchise and reinvent it to try to appeal to the newer generation. This is a fundamental problem that Hollywood has, and it will destroy the industry before it ever gets better. And okay, the best example. This was already talked about by Mecha Random, Geeks and Gamers. Everybody's talked about this. So, looking at the Star Wars theme parks, specifically Galaxy's Edge, they wanted to do the cantina, uh, you know, have a Tatooine themed theme park. And Kathleen Kennedy comes in. And what does she say? She says, well, why should we focus on the stories of the past and appeal to the people who are 40, 50 years old and, you know, develop our theme park around that when there's so many stories ahead of us. You mean stories you haven't created that aren't established. So, yeah, screw the fan. The people that loved A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. No, let's not cater to them. Let's try to develop something new because the next generation, the kids, those are the ones we're going to pander to. That's what we should focus on. You mean the kids who have parents who are going to be paying money? That's going to be, you know, propping up your your theme park and your franchise that isn't established. Bad business decision. Just from that standpoint alone, bad business. But now you're throwing away everything that made, and I'm only talking about the Star Wars franchise. You're throwing away the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, just to try to prop up the Disney trilogy. And oh, by the way, you don't have any good writers, and you also kind of tossed out the expanded universe on. Do you really think that's a good idea? Well, the numbers will say if it was a good idea or not, and the numbers are saying it was a pretty bad fucking idea. You should have gone with the cantina. You still there, Dodge? Dodge?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm um just chilling. Yep.
Okay. Well, no, I'm not even gonna fully put the blame on Disney because you guys made a bad decision. But here's the problem with your decision. For all of the people who had a stupid amount of knowledge when it comes to Star Wars, the expanded universe, you could have hired any of them and it would have been 10 times better than what you guys decided to do with the Disney trilogy. But you didn't. And the reason you didn't is because you didn't actually want to continue with the George Lucas vision of Star Wars. You wanted to go forward with the Lucasfilm
Well, no,
under
and
Disney.
The George Lucas version would have been what the Skywalker saga is over, start a new saga, right?
Well, and that's the thing. They had plenty of source material to pull off of, but they decided the expanded universe isn't canon. This is what again, Kathleen Kennedy decided, why are we gonna focus on what 50-year-old people who saw the films back in the 70s and the 80s? Dude,
Yeah, but then
I'm
again, we just got done saying how our generation is the generation that cares about Star Trek and this and that. And now you're saying, well, the Star Wars generation is outdated. So we can't have it both ways. We need to
well,
land
no,
somewhere here in the middle.
no, what Kathleen Kennedy was saying is don't pay attention to the older generation. Don't pay attention to the people that saw A New Hope for the first time when they were kids. They're 50, 60s you're old now. Don't pay attention to them. We have new stories. Don't pay attention to the legacy. Well, that's a two-way street. Should you look forward and try to expand upon the universe? Yes. That's not a bad idea. You should do that. You should try to expand on the universe. But you don't do it by giving a middle finger to everything that came before you. That is not
Yeah,
only
but do you have to
pretentious.
absolutely adhere to everything that came before you? Because I don't necessarily want to adhere to TOS when I'm a DS9 guy.
But here's the difference. Do you give a middle finger to everything that came before you?
No,
Knowing that
I happen to like the Shatman. I'm a Shatner fan. So, no, I don't.
uh, this is my point. You don't you don't give a middle finger to everything that built up the franchise that you now own just for the sake of, well, there's new stories coming before us or coming after. So F everything that came before. It, we don't need to acknowledge that. That's just a bunch of malarkey. It's a bunch of malarkey. You don't ignore what created the franchise that you are now trying to profit off of, especially from a business standpoint.
Okay, well, where do you land on the newer franchises then? Like The Expanse, for instance.
Oh, The Expanse? Eh, honestly, it's hit or miss. Uh, I don't love it. I don't hate it, but I
Yeah, that's
do.
my jam. Personally, like, I'll throw it out there. I like The Expanse. I'm a fan. I think the books are awesome, and I think the show is even better. That's where I land. I'm down with it. That's the new Star Trek to me.
That's the thing. I don't love it because it's to me it's not anything that's noteworthy, but it's not bad. It's just I don't know. It's not my cup of tea, so I already have a certain opinion about it. But it's not bad. It doesn't. It's kind of a non sequitur trying to compare that to Star Wars because it doesn't go out of its way to destroy, what was the original source material, what was the original foundation that actually made something popular. It it didn't have that to begin with. It was, in my opinion, it's kind of a generic sci-fi story. My issue with Star Wars, specifically after how Disney has treated it, is you guys tossed out the expanded universe and everything well, that made people actually enjoy Star Wars, all for the sake of you know, Disney making it its own thing. And Disney's vision of Star Wars, by comparison, is kind of shit, which is why I don't like it. It's also I don't care about it anymore. I'm not even going to bitch about Star Wars. I just quite simply don't care. It means nothing to me.
Okay, well, here's the thing though. What I was trying to get at is the new genre of sci-fi, the new norm. So you have like Sci-Fi Network, The Magicians, right? That's like an edgy Harry Potter. You have The Expanse. They killed Stargate, but Stargate was still a thing. Um, where do you think we're headed in the future when it comes to sci-fi and pop culture? Because I think we're headed in the direction of The Expanse, where it's more United States based and a little bit darker and more political.
I I definitely think you're correct when it comes to, yeah, things are going to get more political. And yeah, darker, I don't know. I won't say that things are going to get darker. Uh, you're going to find a niche somewhere given enough time. But for the most part, the thing that concerns me the most, there's no creativity left. I'm not even going to go full bore with the whole Simpsons did it, you know, mentality, because that holds true no matter what. But there's no creativity left in Hollywood. There- there's so much gatekeeping. It's become so fucking political that it doesn't matter how creative you are, how great of a story you come up with. If you don't hit all the check boxes, it's never going to get made. So you're always going to get mediocre garbage that, if you're lucky, maybe is worth mention. Maybe.
Sorry, I'm talking to my wife. But no, no, I totally understand. I just okay. Once again, pop culture. Let's move on into video games. Where do you think the video game genre is gonna head from here on out? Because EA is dying. I mean, come on, pay to play. That's a dying phase. You know it is.
Oh, dude, there's a reason I don't buy AAA games at this point, because it's always going to be massive multiplayer online, or it's going to be, it's going to be Call of Duty style nonsense. If you want a game that's actually story driven or narrative driven, it and it's an actual compelling story that has character development, good luck. And when you do find one, it's still probably going to be political posturing, grandstanding. It
Well, here's the thing though. This is where I disagree with you guys a little bit, right? I own Battlefield 1. I get it. Women didn't fight in World War One. I understand. But I also understand it's a goddamn video game and who fucking gives a shit? You know what I
oh,
mean?
I never had a problem with that, actually. And you know me, I like historical. I'm a history nerd just as much as you are. I never had an issue with that. The issue I had was, again, the soapbox grandstanding, where
I don't know, man. I played
everything.
it. I played the tank campaign. I played the flight campaign. I've played on multiplayer online. I enjoy the game. Am I a bad person for that?
No, not at all. It's just I never had an interest in playing it for a very, very, very fucking specific reason. It it still looked like a cut and paste game to me. It had no appeal. It's like, oh, I can play. I don't care if I can play as a man or a woman or anything like. No, I don't care about any of that. It just didn't look like an entertaining game to me because it still looked like a cookie cutter EA, FIFA cut and paste game to me. And I'm not paying $60 for that. Now, if they lower the price to 20 bucks on Steam, yeah, I'd probably buy it and
Okay, I
let the
don't know
game
what
be.
it is on Steam. I know my wife bought it for me at the video game store because I have a PS4 Pro, so she picked it up for what, $10, $15? It wasn't that expensive.
Oh, I'll just I'll just cut straight to the chase. Trying to make video games political is a losing battle to begin. It No, just make a good game, make the mechanics good. If it's a story-driven game, make sure the characters are compelling, make sure the story is good. I Even if it is somewhat political, that's but I don't need a game that is mired in politics. It That's not
Well,
the reason
aren't
I'm playing
most
a video game.
games though? I mean, you had
No.
that game Homefront that was pretty much based on Red Dawn. That was mired in politics. Battlefield
If it's
mired in
mired in
politics. You had Red Dead
no,
Redemption 2 mired in politics. Goddamn Grand Theft Auto 5 mired in politics. Right?
but it's politics that makes sense for the game world that you're being presented with. It I do not need to be playing a game that's set in the 1800s that is talking about modern day politics or trying to do modern day political commentary. No, I want a video game that, before anything else, is entertaining, and the politics that are in the political commentary that is involved in the game should make sense for the world and the
Oh,
setting
real quick,
that the game is put in.
Wolf Shot in the chat. How was Red Dead 2 mired with politics? Are you kidding me right now?
Red Dead Redemption 2 did have a
Oh,
big thing when it comes to the suffragette movement and all that. There was
yeah.
a
Like, are you
strong
kidding
political,
me right now? It was
but
drenched
that's
in the
see,
19th Amendment. Uh,
but that's the point though. It makes sense for the setting of the game. Hey, I do not need real world commentary. For Red Dead Redemption 2, yeah, the suffragettes, they made sense considering the setting of the game and the time period that it was set in. That's immersion.
oh my god, really, Wolf Shot? You went directly to race? I I thought you were better than that. That's all I'm gonna say. I thought you were better than that.
But see, that's the thing. When it comes to politics that makes sense within the world of the game, it needs to make sense within the world of the game and the world building of the game. I do not need soapbox grandstanding and political commentary that revolves around current modern day politics, unless that's what the game is trying to talk about. In which case, if that makes sense, then by all means be my guest. But I do not need soapbox grandstanding. There is a difference.
Well, no, and like when it comes to Red Dead Redemption 2, it was mired in the suffragette movement. It was also mired in the political commentary that was the post Civil War era. Okay,
Well, that's
yeah,
the thing. It made
they
sense for the period. It made sense for the time period that the game was set in, and again, that adds immersion.
Well, no,
It
it does, but also look at Grand Theft Auto 5, right? Okay, the black guy automatically wants to do street racing, and, obviously is selling drugs right off the bat. You have the old, washed up gangster who, has problems with his kids, and then you have the goddamn tweaker living out in the middle of the desert. You want to tell me this isn't drenched in politics and social commentary? Give me a fucking break.
Well, and again, as long as it adds immersion, as long as it makes sense for the context of the story at large, I have no problem with it. The one thing I don't have any tolerance for is where someone's trying to sit there and inject their personal politics into a game where it doesn't make sense for the world building or the greater context of the story. I don't like the soapbox grandstanding. Now, if it makes sense for the game, by all means, be my guest. but it needs to make sense from a world building and a character development standpoint. It has to make, and if it doesn't,
That is totally
it's
fair.
pandering.
Hey, can you give me like 5 minutes so I can go run to the restroom? Like, can you do a monologue for 5 minutes?
Oh yeah, I'll go on a rant.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Bear Dog. It's like when BioShock Infinite took so much heat because the way they treated blacks and called the word that we're not allowed to say. The game was being historically accurate since it was set in 1912. Yes, it did take political and social context and it made sense within the context of the game. That's why you didn't see most people getting mad about that particular aspect of the game because it made sense within the context of the world building. There is a if they tried to go with the well, let's say if they threw in the word colonizer or something along those lines, people might have looked at that and gone, are you really trying to inject that into it? If it's not, it's not something that's cut and dry. Yes, you can still make political commentary and social commentary through the medium of a video game. BioShock managed to do it fairly well. There's a lot of games that get so heavy-handed with it, it actually does break the immersion in the world building. It's not it's not something that you can just look at and say, "Oh, you can or can't do this." It's just the way it's done. Sometimes it's a bit too heavy-handed. Sometimes it's so light-handed that it might as well not even be included at all. And also for Bear Dog, if you're going to bring up the BioShock games, let's just talk about the first BioShock game. That entire game was about, to be blunt, anarcho-communism. That and how that results in a really, really terrifying situation.
Okay, I got a question for you. I'm back. All right. So me and my wife were talking about dinner, right? KFC or Taco Bell?
Mm, I don't like either. So you're asking the wrong person. But if I had to,
Oh, what about Arby's? I totally want a roast beef melt right now. That sounds fucking amazing.
I don't know. I was gonna say Taco Bell and get one of the Crunch Wraps. Those
Oh
are.
yeah, she said no Taco Bell.
Oh
So
well,
she's bitching about the Taco Bell idea. Um, that means
if Bear
and
Dog
no
Bear Dog
Arby's
agrees with
either.
me.
Like no
Taco Bell.
roast beef melt. What the hell?
Well, sounds like you don't have a choice.
I know,
But no,
right? No, that's what I hate.
Taco Bell.
So this is like the married fucking argument right here. Right? She'll go, "Hey, what do you want for dinner?" I'm like, "Hey, I totally want like 4 soft tacos." Right? She's like, "I don't want soft tacos. What else do you want?" Well, no, why are you even asking me? Why don't you just tell me where you're going and then we decide from there? Because, god damn it.
But you don't actually have a choice.
I
And
know.
Bear Dog, you were correct. The first BioShock game was, if you want to do politics, the first BioShock game, yes, that was the epitome of how to do politics in a video game without making a video game political, at least in the sense that we look at it, because it still touches on social issues, but it's not heavy-handed. It doesn't shove it down your throat, but it still has a commentary on Hmm. These are somewhat relevant issues that maybe we should look at, but framing it in a way that makes sense for the game and the world that the game sets up. BioShock was, again, a 10 out of 10 when it comes to doing that.
So my son Bradley, is suddenly a vampire. He just hissed at my wife. I think he tried to use, Dread Gaze, but it didn't work because she's a higher generation.
Well, I don't know what to tell you there.
Yeah, no, he hissed at her and she just laughed at him. Um, welcome to my world.
Must have rolled all ones.
But MC says Arby's over Taco Bell. You just hate Mexicans, sir. I heard you about building the wall. Like,
And that's racist.
yeah, right. So MC is a racist. We decided it right here. Oh, wait a minute. Is he a racist? Because I thought he was already called a Jew. Shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
we might have a
now it's
conflict of
Inception.
interest.
It's Inception. All right, we're gonna have to start rolling more dice.
Oh man. But when it comes to video games, is there any games that you're actually looking forward to? You know, because you do own a PS4, right?
And I own almost every console at this point in time. I do not have a PS4, and I have no intention of buying any new gen console, to be honest. I just don't. I'm just gonna get my power fixed.
So you're going PC all the way then.
Yep.
Okay, anything you're looking forward to in the PC area? Because I would like to bring up Bloodlines 2.
I haven't really been paying that much attention, honest. It's just the video game industry is just as bad as the comic book industry, is just as bad as the movie industry. Until I see something that I really am excited for, I'll wait for the reviews to come out. But
Okay,
no, I
no,
don't
memes,
see anything.
That's why they make Taco Bell / KFC anytime I can get a Mexican pizza and popcorn chicken. It's a good day. What the fuck is going on in fucking Massachusetts?
The Mexican pizza actually is really, really good.
What is wrong with you people?
If you haven't had a Mexican pizza, dude, you're missing.
Have you had barbecue chicken pizza? Because that's some good shit.
Oh, dude, yeah. Although I don't care what anyone says, Philly cheesesteak pizza is the best.
I've never had that. That is intriguing. Did you just say Philly cheesesteak pizza?
Yes. Oh, yes. It's amazing. It is amazing. If you
I
ever see
need
Philly
this in my
cheesesteak pizza,
life.
buy it.
Where do I get it?
Yeah. That's a good question because I've been looking for years and I still can't find it. Domino's used to have a really good Philly cheesesteak pizza, and they took it off the menu, and I'm kind of mad about it.
That's it. I'm calling up Pinoid. Right? You know what I mean? Like, go right to the source.
Oh, and of course we have memes over here. Big Mac pizza. What is a Big Mac? Memes. Well, what are you? What?
Are
what
you
on
on
about?
crack, sir? What the fuck? Big Mac pizza. No, you have to be on drugs. That's it. Hey, memes, this is your intervention. Have a seat right over here.
Memes has officially violated quarantine.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like I'm done. I've had it with your ass, dude.
But no, back on video games. I don't I don't mind narrative driven video games when it comes to social commentary.
So like what? What do you mean narrative driven? Because you said narrative driven. You know what popped in my head? The Last of Us. Because that's a story driven
I
game. But it's not
and
political. It's about the end of the world. You know what I mean?
but The Last of Us 2 has become political. It more political than it is narrative.
I don't
Like,
believe it's even released yet, is it?
but it's not, and I did go through the leaks, and I'm not gonna talk about the leak because I don't want your channel to get nuked by Sony. But no, it's political, and it's not even that it's political. it takes it takes the entire story of the first game and pretty much tosses it out the way. It's like, well, why would you do this? Well, it doesn't make sense. Uh, Let me ask you this question. Why would the main character of the first game not be a main character in the second? A legitimate question.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, like, alright, I can see where some games can get political, right? Okay, you have that game, god damn it. It's about suicide and shit. It's a real emo fucking game. It's on the PlayStation.
Oh, I know what
Um,
you're talking about. I know exactly what game you're talking about, and I can't
yeah.
remember the name.
Yeah, no. Oh, I can't remember the name either. But that game was like what? Pro lesbian and all this other bullshit. Hey, it's
Well,
alright. As long as you have a good narrative, I don't give a shit. I don't care if I'm playing a character that's a fucking lesbo. Why does that matter to me? And why do you
that's
think
the
it
thing.
matters to me? Like
That's
that's the real issue. Why do you think it matters to me?
that's the thing. I never cared about the relationship between these characters as
The
far
story
as
of us. That's what it is, I think.
maybe.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know. I
it's
can't
that
remember.
game where you're the emo chick and you can rewind it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Uh, oh man, I know exactly what game you're talking about, dude. And I cannot remember the name.
I think it's the story of us or something like that. It's not The Last of Us, and I get it, crowd. I understand. You probably think I'm mixing them up. I'm not. All right, I get the difference here. The Last of Us is a good game.
No. Oh, this is gonna drive me crazy now because I know exactly what you're talking about. Ugh.
Oh no, and that game pissed me the fuck off, right? Because I was in the very first fucking scene, pretty much, and it took me hours to figure out what to even click on. And all you have to do is click on this one fucking thing. But no, they don't make it plain to you, and it's in the tutorial section. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? Fucking stupid game.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna annoy the ever living crap out of me for bringing that game up because now I need to remember what the name of that game was.
Well, I mean, if it's really that much of an issue, I could probably fire up the PS4 and look it up for you because I
You know,
did. I did download it.
it's something story. It,
Yeah, I think it's the story of us or something like that. It's not The Last of Us, people. Different game. But the story of us or no, I think that's what it is. I don't think
no,
there is an or here.
it's something like My Story or something
Oh
like
my
that.
god, my story. I think that's it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's it.
which I hear is a fairly dark game. It,
Well, yeah, it's all about suicide and shit. Yeah.
yeah, but that's the thing. No one complained about. Oh no, there's an there's an LGBT person in the game, and
And
the
they're committing
protagonist.
suicide. I
Yeah,
think that might be an issue. No? Nobody? No hands raised? Okay. Alright, I guess
yeah,
there's nothing to see here, people.
yeah. No one complained about that. The same way that with The Last of Us leaks, uh, no one really. I mean, yeah, we were kind of a little when we saw the fact that what you want to highlight is a kiss. So it's like, are you guys actually going with gameplay and character development? Because done right, shocker, no one's actually really gonna care. Hey, maybe if this game took place in the 80s, maybe someone would give a damn. But now, no. No one's gonna care. The reason that we look at it and go, eh, is because it's gonna feel preachy, soapboxy, and well, we don't we don't really we don't really care. It
well,
is the story good? Is the character development good? Is the world building good? Is the plot line good?
yeah,
That's what
because
we
you
care
don't
about.
need all of that rolled into one, right? You have games like Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, right? All Elder Scrolls games. I did that on purpose. Because you know what they do? They don't necessarily character build. You create your character. You character build. What they do is world building. They build the world around you. It's immersive. It's in depth. That's why you play the fucking game.
But again, that's kind of the whole point, and why everybody sort of took a step back and looked at The Last of Us Part Two. It's like, this is what you want to highlight? Their their sexual orientation, their relationship. Like, this is what you want to highlight when it comes to a game like The Last of Us.
Yeah, in end of
This,
the world scenario, this is pretty much The Walking Dead with a different premise.
it, I mean, again, no one really cared. Like, dude, I couldn't give two shits about in a Walking Dead style end of the world scenario. I do not care about your sexual orientation. What I'm more concerned about is, how on earth are you going to survive? Where's Joel? Who who killed Joel? Is
Right?
Joel
He was the
alive?
main
Is
goddamn
Joel dead?
character. He was my favorite character. It's who you played through the whole fucking game. Oh, that makes me so mad that he's
Yeah,
dead.
the the last thing, no pun intended, that I'm concerned about is someone's sexuality in an end of the world apocalyptic scenario. Like, okay, cool. Uh, uh Ellie's Ellie is
No, I would
into
like to know
girls.
how she survived
Like,
without Joel. Right? Because I don't
yeah,
know how you ended the game. There's two ways to end the first game. One is you kill that son of a bitch, which is what I did. I shot her ass. I did not let them test that little girl. You know what I mean? I shot him. Yeah, spoiler alert. I'm telling you the end of The Last of Us. The game's fucking 6 years old. Get over it. Um, but that's how I ended the game. Is I shot her fucking ass. Ellie is only alive because of Joel. How the fuck is she still alive with Joel dead?
I could go into the spoilers because I have no intention of playing The Last of Us Part 2. So if we really want to, I can get into the spoilers, but I can tell you this much. Uh, Ellie's sexuality doesn't have a damn thing to do with it. Which, why would you highlight that? Why is it important? Oh, because you're trying to market it to a certain group of people because you want to appeal to a certain group. Uh, what does this have to do with the fact of, well, is your game good? Is the story good? Is the narrative good? It Who cares? It This is not the 1980s. We don't care if she's part of the LGBT community. We don't care if Ellie is into girls. No one cares. And
Yeah,
the thing
it
is, if
doesn't matter. It doesn't even come into our fucking existence. Like, why would we give a shit? Like,
well,
do
the
you
thing is,
care that I
if you
like
are
women? Like, is that something that you're concerned about? That I'm a straight man? Like, if you're actually concerned about that, let me know. But I doubt you are. It doesn't fucking
well,
involve you.
the thing is, if you are going to make Ellie a lesbian, use that as a plot point to drive the character forward. They use it as a plot point, but they don't. They don't use it as a plot point. It's just tossed in there because, hey, look, we're down with the LGBTQ. If Ellie is into that, use it as something that is a character drive, as a narrative driving factor. Don't just toss it in there because, oh yeah, by the way. No, don't
Well,
pander.
no, and
Use it as a plot point.
well, no, and you as a grown ass man, do you consider yourself straight first? I doubt it. I know for me, I don't really even consider that a fucking relevant topic. You know what I mean? Why do you care who I
Yeah,
fuck?
I have no idea why I need to tell people what I choose to do or don't do with my naughty part. Why should it even be an issue? Uh,
Exactly, and why base a video game off of that premise? Which is what it
It makes
sounds
no
like they're
sense.
doing, and I don't like that. That sounds stupid to me. And for
Well,
that
again,
very
it's
reason,
pandering.
because it's so irrelevant.
Well, it's pandering, and if I was part of the LGBTQ whatever community, I would look at this and go, so you're just throwing that in there to pander. You're you're trying to sell something, but it has nothing to do with the game, has nothing to do with the storyline.
Well, no, and like, okay, let's look at it this way. Here's a real simple concept that you'll totally wrap your head around, and I know you will. World of Warcraft. If you create your character as a human barbarian fighter, are you necessarily racist because you automatically don't like orcs? How dare you, you
Oh,
orcist?
we can talk about that in a second.
You know what I
We
mean?
Yeah, we can talk about that in a second. Let's put that one on the back burner for the moment. So, if anybody doesn't want spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2, here's your warning. So, apparently, according to the leaks, which I don't know They might end up changing. Lord knows. So at the end of the first game, Joel kills some individual. Well, their
Yeah,
daughter.
that dumb, was she brunette? I think she was a blonde bitch, actually. If I remember correctly. But yeah, he
Well,
killed that dumb bitch that wanted to test the little girl. No. And you do get a
well,
choice, though. Like, let's be frank. You get a choice to let Ellie be taken or not. The correct
well.
choice is what everybody chooses.
Apparently, in The Last of Us 2, the choice is you don't let Ellie get killed. So already you're kind of saying, yeah, it doesn't matter what choice you chose. Uh,
What?
so Ellie's alive.
But
So
she's taken by these fucking sons of bitches.
no, no. So Ellie's alive. Apparently, Ellie has a girlfriend, and they decide there's some kind of cult or something like that, from what I've been able to gather, because Sony's been really trying to take down anything and everyone who talks about this. So I'll be very vague. There's a cult. Ellie's alive. Uh, there's a female who was the daughter of the people that Joel decided to kill, and she has it out for Joel. They're both going after this cult, and they they find this cult, and girl from, what was it? The Fireflies? Is that was the name of them?
Yeah, I think that was the name of that group or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So the parents uh of this girl, well, she knows that Joel's the one that killed her parents, and she she kills Joel. Like Joel gets killed. You don't even get the chance to play as him. She just beats him in with a golf club while Ellie has to watch, and then gets taken captive. Ellie gets taken captive by this chick. I think her name's like Abby or something. And then Ellie goes full on, screw you, I'm out of here. Kills off her entire group. And so now she chases her down, and it's basically just this stupid revenge plot. Well, you killed me, or you killed this person, and I killed this person, so I'm gonna chase you down. And it ends up with this stupid fucking plot of, I'm about to kill you, but is is it okay for me to kill you, because the cycle of death is just gonna go on and on, so I'm not gonna kill you. No, just, if this is the direction that you're gonna take it, dude, just have Abby kill Ellie and call it a day. Because if you don't, she's gonna come back and kill you because you killed Joel, because Joel killed your parents. Bro, this is supposed to be a narrative driven game. What?
Yeah, exactly. And you're not driving the narrative either. It's not Skyrim where you drive the narrative. The narrative is driven for you. You're along for the ride. I played The Last of Us. I know how that game goes. I beat the game. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing. If you're gonna try to do this like revenge driven plot thing, well, where where are the Certiset zombies? It Because they're not even mentioned in the leak. It's just like, oh no, Joel killed my parents. I'm gonna kill Joel. Oh, Ellie kills my group because I took her hostage. Oh, well, now I have a reason to go chase her down. Now it's just a revenge plot between Ellie and the other chick. I think her name is Abby. I don't know. I really
That
don't.
is so dumb because I remember killing that bitch. Like, I remember killing her at the end of the fucking first game.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's ridiculous. It's it's not even a good story, and it's supposed to be a narrative-driven game. So it's like, well, what's the point?
yeah,
It
and that's what the first game was all about, was the narrative. And it worked. It really worked. This game was a blockbuster. You know what I mean? Like, it worked. Why fuck with the formula?
because it had a good story, but now we have, well, Joel is dead. Ellie apparently has a lesbian girlfriend, and this other chick wants to kill Ellie because I don't know, dude. The whole thing is just hearing about it. It's like, no, just no. It's a it just sounds like a freaking ass pull. It's like, okay,
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I think well, I hope we decided upon Chinese food, but I think it's probably tacos. But I'm rooting for Chinese food. The wife heard me. She's just not responding. She's being a bitch. You know.
there's a joke to be made there, but I'm not gonna make it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially with my daughter's name being Corona.
Uh, I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we totally need some Corona Chan in our life.
I I I don't acknowledge infectious things.
Oh shit, man. But we are approaching the 2 hour mark. And I think we're winding down a little bit. If you had to choose your favorite video game ever though, what would you choose?
Oh, now that's a question.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'll go ahead and give you my answer. My favorite ever? Probably Zelda, Link's Adventure. I played that for hours as a kid on my Game Boy Color. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, that's what you're going with? Hmm.
yeah, I'm going old school. So what are you going with?
Ah, man, you're putting me on the spot with this one. It fuck. All right, it's a toss up. It really is. I love the Resident Evil remake on GameCube. I love that game. But if I had to say my favorite, uh, it probably is Turok 2 Seeds of Evil on the N64. Uh,
Okay.
dude, I love that game.
Yeah, no, respect. Cause I went old school also. I went Game Boy Color, right? So that's what, 96, 97?
Oh, I know Turok 2 Seeds of Evil, like, bro, you can't tell me I can't say that when one of the best weapons in that entire game is something called the cerebral bore, where it's literally a drill bit that drills into your enemy's head and then explodes.
Well, no, and like, an argument can be made for Mortal Kombat, the original, or Street Fighter. Like that argument can be made. But when it boils down to it, what did I spend hours playing? It was goddamn Zelda.
Uh, if we're going with that one, if we're going with like time played, dude, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. I I love that. I love that game, but still, it has to go to Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. Because, dude, I can throw a freaking buzzsaw at you like it's a freaking boomerang. Like, come on. Come on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And all right. So another question before we wrap up. Because once again, pop culture, favorite comic of all time. I'm gonna go directly
Ooh,
to a graphic novel, and I'm gonna say Spawn. That's mine.
on. Ooh. Okay, now you actually asked me a question that I can't really legitimately answer. But if I had to, fuck. Are we talking are we talking the story or like,
Well,
you got to give me
I
a
didn't
little.
go for the Cape Crusaders. You notice I went directly for Spawn, the darker area. So it's up to you what you want to base the category on. I went with more adult themed. So Spawn. My second choice would be well, shit. My second choice would either be The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones. But Spawn definitely leads it because it kind of started the genre, in my opinion.
That's the thing. I'm gonna have to base mine just off of the story and you know how unique it is and fuck. You know I'm a comic book nerd, man. You asked me like one of the most difficult questions you probably ever asked.
Oh, I know, right? And I think you're leaning towards the Dark Knight series, aren't you?
One of them, but probably not what you're thinking of, and probably one that most people haven't heard of. Uh, the Infinity Gauntlet series was great. I love I love the Thunderbolts under Red Hulk. I love Days of Future Past. Those are what you would expect most people to say. But I have to say the Tower of Babel from DC Comics. That is just because of the premise of it. The Tower of Babel, and that's from DC Comics. That is probably one of my favorite story arcs just because of the
That
premise
is
of it.
that from DC or is it from Dark Horse, which is kind of DC's little, mature offshoot?
It's from DC.
Okay,
Uh,
because Walking Dead is Dark Horse, and so was Spawn, I believe, actually.
the reason I say Tower of Babel is because the whole premise is that what kicks everything off, no one can read. Like, people are looking at like newspapers and you know, no one can actually read them. So it's just all information, boom, gone.
You know what I liked that came from DC? And I remember it because I wanted this tattooed on me for the longest time. And you might know what I'm talking about. The tattoo would be half ice blue and the other half blood red dripping down with the Superman symbol. You know,
Mhm.
when he died.
Yeah, the
That,
death of Superman.
yeah. That was the Superman comic. Superman versus fucking, what was his name?
Doomsday.
Doomsday, yeah. And
Yeah, Doomsday.
that that has to be my favorite comic of all time. But I went with my series. You know what I mean? So that's why I went with the
Well,
Spawn series.
And that's why I went with, as far as like story arc, Tower of Babel. Because again, the premise is so simple. People can't read. You can't, like, if you try to, like, if me and you were trying to talk right now, you would not understand what I'm trying to tell or what I'm trying to say to you. If I tried to write something down on a piece of paper and hand it to you, you can't read it. And all communication scrambled. Not cut off, but scrambled. It's a great premise. I love it. Because it literally does destroy all of society simply by doing something very, very, very straightforward. All communication shut the fuck down. No one can communicate at all anymore. It, and all society breaks down. It's an amazing premise.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you look at what the Superman versus Doomsday comic. We all thought Superman actually died. Okay, we thought that.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't we? Look at look at how Doomsday, completely just. Oh, you're a Kryptonian? Yeah, you're dead.
No, absolutely. And all right. Last question. I said that last time. Shut up, woman. Nobody asked you. Yeah, well, it's my show. Nobody has to ask me. Um, all right. Favorite. Oh, she just threw shit at me. I'm gonna whoop this woman's ass when we go off air. That's it. I've had it. I'm done. Yep. I'm going to jail tonight. No, I'm kidding.
My
I'm
money's on
joking,
her.
people. Don't start doxing me yet. I'm kidding. But no. All right. Favorite movie. My favorite movie of all time is Young Guns 2, the sequel. It builds off of the first one, and it has better punchlines. What's your favorite movie of all time? And then we'll wrap up.
Oh, favorite movie. Well, I have to ask, Young Guns 2. That's what you're going with?
Dude, I quote that shit almost daily. Like, I'll make you famous. Or, William H. Bonney, you are not a god. Why don't you pull the trigger and find out? Yeah, like, how badass does it get? Like, how badass do you have to be to get to that level? Why don't you pull the trigger and find out? And you just grin at him. I love it, dude.
I'll give it to you. I wanted to know your reasoning.
Yeah, it's more the punchlines. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm kind of simple like that.
It it is a toss up. I'm probably gonna have to give it to, just because I've always loved this movie, Event Horizon. I love Event Horizon.
Event Horizon. Okay,
I
you
l-
questioned me on Young Guns too. I got a few questions on Event Horizon. Really, they don't even have any good punchlines. I mean, why?
it's not about the punchlines, it's not about the dialogue. It's about the premise itself, where, hey, cool, we can do interstellar travel. But it's not interstellar travel. It's, this spaceship goes, poof, disappears, then comes back. And oh, by the way, now it's possessed. But the thing I love the most about Event Horizon you're stuck on a frickin' spaceship that is possessed by demons, or it's the spaceship itself is demonically possessed.
Okay, I can see
And
that. I can see that. But then again, that's like me saying, I love Titanic because they're stuck on a ship. You know what I mean?
but but the atmosphere and the characters, the fact that they don't realize you're stuck on a haunted spaceship, essentially, floating around Pluto. And the way they have the environments built, it's creepy as shit. Hey, hey, the same reason I love the Resident Evil games, it is very much an isolation survival horror type scenario. And it's creepy. And I love that. Right? I love horror movies. I love survival horror. I love Alone in the Dark. I love Resident Evil. Uh, what is possibly worse than being stuck on a freaking spaceship that just popped up out of nowhere 7 years later? It, no, I love Event Horizon.
Okay, fair enough. And I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Um,
But also, I will say one other thing though. If I was not allowed to choose Event Horizon, Blade Runner.
I happen to like Blade Runner as well, actually. So
Blade
I
Runner is
hear
an
you.
amazing movie.
Yeah,
Bla-
that's almost a guilty pleasure, kind of like what would I? Oh, Southland Tales, right? That's a guilty
Yeah,
pleasure.
yeah.
You know, Mall Rats. I mean, come on. Who brings up Mall Rats in their top 10? Other than
Clerks,
me.
Clerks, and Clerks too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Zach and Miri. I mean, come on. Like
Oh, Zach and Mary Make a Porno is an amazing movie.
it really is.
Uh, because
Don't ever
how
say shit
how the
covered to me again. Like,
how the hell how the hell is Zach and Mary Make a Porno probably one of the best love stories when it's about two people making a porno so they can
I
pay their bills?
I know, Jack. Literally, so they can pay their bills. Like they got a burn barrel in the living room at the beginning. It's amazing.
Oh no, it's a great movie. It's dumb, it's stupid, but it's entertaining as.
And it works. I don't know how it works, but it works. You know what I mean?
Oh, oh yeah, and that's why it's so good. It's sort of like why Superbad and Pineapple Express are so good. It doesn't mean they're good movies. It's just they work because they're
Yeah,
dumb.
or you want to get really horrible? Dude, where's my car? Come on.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Again, they're stupid movies, and they're really not worthy of mention. But bro, they're funny. Like,
They really are. Like, dude, where's my car? Come on, that's hilarious.
oh, dude, it's like what's that one freaking movie? The one with Coolidge College.
What, the Hangover or whatever?
No, not The Hangover. It's the one with Coolidge College. Uh, it's another Ryan Reynolds movie. Again, they're all dumb. They're all dumb as hell, but they're funny as fuck.
Yeah, he totally got typecasted as that fucking idiot over in the corner. And he just rolled with it. Good for him. You know what I mean? Hey, made him millions of dollars. Who am I to judge?
Dude, even the first Deadpool movie, the second one, a little bit to be desired. But the first one, bro, it's literally just Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds. It, It's stupid.
Oh, it's like every Jack Nicholson movie since the 90s, right? Like, he's just playing himself at this point. Like, he doesn't give a fuck anymore.
But that's why it's so good because you don't even need to act. Like just be yourself. Like just be obnoxious. It's like me playing a Malkavian. Like just do something stupid.
Yeah,
Have you ever seen?
yeah.
Have you
Look
ever
at
seen
that
a rat
potted
fly?
plant over there in the corner.
Squeak one, fly free, my friend.
Yeah, no, and it's like me playing a Brujah in Vampire, right? Like, I'm the same way because I get overly emotional and I wig the fuck out. That is the Brujah clan in a nutshell. So yeah, I'm gonna play that clan very fucking well.
And I'm not complaining. It again, squeak one. Your sacrifice will not be forgotten.
Yeah, poor Squeak One. F for
And
Squeak
you know
One.
what?
Yeah.
We're we're just gonna have to turn the Enterprise, formerly known as Whoop Whoop, into a memorial for Squeak One and his noble sacrifice.
That's awesome. All right. So on that note, thank you everybody. Hey, we did have a stream that went for like 6 hours that I never started. I have no idea how it started. And YouTube, if you can hear me, I didn't do it, so don't penalize me. All right. So I'm gonna shut OBS all the way down this time. I'm gonna make sure everything's shut down, and if a random stream pops up, it totally wasn't me, guys. I'm done for tonight. Good night, good luck, and don't go to France. We're out of here.